I'm a nasty woman.
Friday, Friday, Friday is my favorite day. Friday, Friday, Friday is my favorite day. Monday is a bummer, Tuesday's only fair. Wednesday's getting better, Thursday's almost there. But Friday, Friday, Friday is my favorite. Friday is my favorite. Friday is my favorite day. Oh.
You are listening to 104.1 KQTH, Tucson's news and talk. I am the beautiful man. Sitting right across from me is my sexy sidekick, Ross, taking your telephone calls at 751-1041. Mr. Charles in charge. Yes, my friends, this is a celebration.
The celebration!
Celebration of the Big Top, the conservative circus, the greatest show on earth. It is Friday. Even though we sing that Friday is our favorite day of the week, it's really a lie. Fridays are depressing because it's the last day of the week that the Big Top is open. The weekend is almost upon us, my friends. We still have some things that we need to discuss. Of course, tomorrow will be the 100th day since the Trump inauguration. Thank you very much. The Trump inauguration, which means we still have a couple thousand days to go. Not a couple thousand, but what do we have? 1,000, a little over 1,000.
Well, it would be what, 365 times 4, basically?
Yeah.
Somewhere around that range. I'm
Right.
not saying it's exact, but yeah.
Well, maybe we do have a couple thousand if he ends up getting a
second term.
Right.
Right.
And of course, everyone has been talking about the first 100 days. We're going to talk about a little bit of that today. Also, I got to ask the question: what is going on with with Congress, with the Republicans in Congress, and the passage of a repeal and replace plan? It seems like the Liberty Caucus, they're on board. Now the moderates are balking. Well, we'll talk about that. The first 100 days of Trump. We're still waiting to hear about what's happening with the Obamacare, what's amazing is it could have been repealed on the very first day, as Trump said it would be. And the reality is that, again, the reason why it is not is right in the Republicans' court. Now we're starting to have questions being asked about Republicans, their desire to get this done, their desire to get other things done. It's amazing how Republicans ran on repeal and replace, and then they won, and now, I don't know. It's amazing how President Trump ran on Build the Wall, and then he won, and now Republicans are like, I don't know. What's really being exposed here is how the establishment is married to, for better, for worse. I say for worse. For richer, for poor. I say for the poor. How the establishment is married to the status quo. They don't want to divorce the status quo. The mainstream media are continuing their drumbeat of trying to discredit the Trump presidency. And the latest is this. Donald Trump said on being president, I thought it would be easier. I thought it would be easier. This is on the 99th day. This is from News Corp. As his 100 days in office approaches, Donald Trump has said he didn't know being president would be as hard as it is. In an interview with Reuters, Mr. Trump seemed to be missing his life before he became the leader of the free world. U.S. President Donald Trump takes the oath of office as his wife. Yeah, that's the picture. I loved my previous life. I had so many things going, Mr. Trump told Reuters in an interview. This is more work than in my previous life. I thought it would be easier. He said there are certain things he misses now that he's president, which comes with the 24-hour Secret Service protection and a bunch of things he can't do. I like to drive. I can't drive anymore, he said. You're really into your own little cocoon because you have such massive protection that you really can't go anywhere. The president also said he'll attend next year's White House Correspondents' Dinner, maybe. I would come next year, absolutely, he said. I put the maybe in there. When asked whether he would attend in the future. Oh, yeah, Washington, D.C. is really upset about this. Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. The pundits are upset because that President Trump is not going to the Correspondents' Dinner this year. And they're even more peeved because he's going to hold an event somewhere. I forgot where, Ohio, Nebraska, somewhere he's going to hold an event at the same time the dinner's supposed to be going on. So the people who were supposed to be going to the dinner, now they can't go. They have to go cover the event, the White House press corps. But about this thing, I thought it would be harder. The press is really, really hammering on this. They're criticizing Trump for saying that he thought it would be easier. Trump said, I thought it would be easier. I thought the work would be easier. He's surprised at how hard it is. And he's also surprised and a little bit put off how little privacy he has. 520-751-1041 is the telephone number.
Well, he is supposedly the most powerful man on the planet, right? So the whole privacy thing kind of comes with the territory, right?
The privacy thing, he's the most powerful man on the planet. He's probably one of the most hated presidents we've ever had. He's probably, yeah. Well, look at how the left's reacting. Look at what's happening in the streets. Oh, we have to go back and revisit the Berkeley incident yesterday as well. The Berkeley incident, non-incident. He said the job is harder. He misses his privacy. Now, I remember stories about Michelle Obama, who was sneaking out of the house, going to the Walmart. Remember that? Or Target. Was it Target or Walmart? Either one. That's where she said she used to shop. Lie. And I remember, there was a period in there where people were wondering whether or not Michelle's going to be able to, to handle this. But why all of the criticism? Because he said that he didn't know the job would be this hard. 520-751-1041 is the telephone number.
Did he mean that in regards to like pushback or to just getting anything done or just the job in itself or the amount of, stress and work that goes into the daily grind of it? Did he get specific?
I think that he meant within the job itself. It's a tough job. It is a tough job. And even though the media likes to say that he didn't get a lot done, that it's been chaotic, for somebody who was not a politician, first time as the president, his first political win was the president of the United States, I think he's got a hell of a lot done. I think, the learning curve, my goodness, what happens when he gets the hang of it? We got Lisa from the great state of Massachusetts on the line. Lisa, welcome to 104.1 KQTH.
Hi, James. How are you?
Fantastic.
So this goes along with everything we've been talking about all week. He's honest. And I'm wondering if that initial article wasn't slanted a little bit.
Okay.
You know how they do, kind of take it out. But
Right.
I'm sure he was talking to this reporter honestly. And he probably just said, hey, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Probably the way, most people that aren't slanting him, says he's a down-to-earth guy like you and I would talk, And I think they're making it more negative than what he probably meant to say.
Well, Lisa, are you a mother?
Oh, yeah. Mother of two girls.
A mother of two girls.
Girls.
After you had your first child, after you had your first girl, did you ever utter, man, you know what? I didn't know how hard it was going to be.
After my first one, I was going to have 10 more. My second one came. And then you cry. The first day you go back to work with the first one,
right?
Cry. And with the second one, you're like counting the days, and you're like, bye-bye, and you run to work. because you want to talk to adults, and I think that's what he's feeling. He's feeling, that second child syndrome.
I think when you the first child. I remember my wife after the first child. We're not gonna do this again.
Really?
Then the second child, I'm not gonna do this again. But it's like
my doctor. He's like, you want to make a bet?
But that's just it. But no one the first time you're going through this. You have no idea what this is, a new experience, and then especially if you go without the the drugs and that kind of stuff you had that kid the first time.
Right.
I imagine many women have said, "Wow, I didn't know labor was going to be this hard."
Right. And all these people who talk negative about him and his presidency, you do the job then.
Well, exactly.
I don't know us as conservatives that we can say, I wouldn't want to do that job, where the liberals can't do that and they can criticize them, but could you do that job? No.
A very, 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 congratulations. How old are your daughters, Lisa?
They're 19, 20.
They're women. You got adults.
Yeah.
So they do grow up.
They survived.
Lisa, thank you very much for the call.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Hey, how's Mom? Oh, I didn't know it was going to be that hard. I remember my wife saying that. I said, honey, that looks easy. I did not. That would be stupid, wouldn't it? So then why are we criticizing? Why is President Trump getting criticism?
What did we say as soon as he got elected? Every little thing he does or says will get scrutinized to the point where it's going to come off as negative publicity for him.
Right.
Everything he does will come off that way.
Every little
to the
thing.
left.
Mark from New Orleans, Louisiana. Welcome to 104.1 KQTH.
Hello, Brother James. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you very well. Thank you.
Awesome sauce, man. Thank you for having me on the show, brother. And you know what? I'll say, just put this out there, man. Ever since I found out your videos, man, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you very much, Mark.
Man, thank you for the amazing podcast. And as an invitation, brother, if you ever come down here to New Orleans, hit me up, brother. I'm going to show you around. Yeah. We're going to get our crawfish and our gumbo and our po' boys on.
Oh, you're talking to me now, Mark. I will do just that. I will give you a heads up.
Thank you, brother. But no, in regards with the topic, man, I think everything he's doing right now, or at least most of it is great and everything. There's a couple of things I've been kind of iffy about it. I can't lie and everything. I'm a little skeptical, but majority of it, especially when it comes to the economy, he's doing awesome. But one of my problems is, and everybody knows this still, what is going on with the Republicans?
Right.
Why the hell are they not supporting him
right.
the way he should be supported?
Right.
It's like your career politicians, they always say, talk one thing, but do another. It goes the same way.
Well, that's a difference. That's a difference between a Trump and these politicians. He came in and he's actually trying to do what he said he's going to do. But the Democrats, or I should say the Republicans, they said they want to do these things, but when given the opportunity, I think this is a whole flim-flam game. I think that the Republicans are like, okay, Liberty Caucus, it's your turn. You disrupt it. And then when you all get your act together, then we'll disrupt it. And that way we could draw this whole thing out because, you know what, at the end of the day, we're statists and we don't want Obamacare to go away.
Exactly. Even when it comes to that, like I was thinking about a couple months before, we had the governor race for Louisiana going on. I remember the current governor of Louisiana, he's promising all these things. It's the same old stuff. Same old. He gets into office. I didn't vote for this guy. I couldn't stand him for nothing. Horrible, horrible person. He gets into office. First thing we see happening and everything, he's cutting tops to the school program for Louisiana. Making all these cuts and everything, of course, after promising, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I'm like, man, these politicians.
This is what you Mark from New Orleans. What you are describing is exactly how politicians behave, and it's a reason why there was a bloodbath. But I don't think Republicans understand that if they keep this up, they're going to be the next ones that bleed. Got to go. Thanks for calling in today, Mark.
Thank you, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark from New Orleans. We got Joy on the line from Alabama. We're going to talk to her on the other side. The question on the floor, why is the media giving Trump so much guff over saying, wow, you know what, I I just didn't think it was going to be this hard. I thought it was going to be easier. Look, I'm looking at Obama. I'm looking at everything that Obama did, going on all these TV shows. I'm looking at Obama golfing. I'm looking at Obama hanging out with, doing his brackets. I thought this was going to be easier. You're listening to 104.1 KQTH. This is day 99 of the Trump presidency. Tomorrow will be the 100th day. Trump was interviewed by Reuters, and he said something that people are pouncing on. He said, I thought it would be easier. Well, why wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't he think that? Last year, it looked like President Obama was he was what, slow jamming the news. He was appearing on Between Two Ferns. He's being interviewed with Pimp with a Limp, Flozell. What was he doing? He was sitting on all the late night talk shows. I mean, why? Yeah, hard work. People are complaining about how much Trump has gone golfing. He uses that as part of a business deal. We got Joy from the great state of Alabama. We also have Tracy from Texas. Joy, welcome to 104.1 KQTH.
Hey, James.
How you
South
doing?
is in the house today, aren't we?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well, I think he's doing a fantastic job. I mean, I've questioned a couple of things, but I'm going to leave him in charge of that because I don't know all the details on that side of it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite parts was the MOAB, but imagine being this big ship, okay, and Trump's the big ship, okay, and you got this big ship. I don't know if you've ever been around a big ship or not, like a cruise ship or anything, but when they dock that thing, those ropes on that, to secure that thing to the dock, to secure it to the dock, those.
They're massive.
They're massive. I mean, yeah, they're bigger around than my leg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's the Republicans. He was anchored with them. I mean, we got it going through. We got the Senate, we got the House. He's anchored, okay? I say anchored. He's shored.
Right.
The Democrats are the dead-gum anchor. They have thrown out every anchor that the baby's got. Now what they want to do is say, watch Trump govern. Try to sell that thing. It's not going to work.
Right.
He's done all he can do.
You're right.
All they can do is say, well, look how many executive orders he did. And he was complaining about Obama. And
You're right.
And then on the other end of this spectrum, you get like an exit interview from Obama, and he says, well, ISIL, which is really ISIS, wasn't on my radar. Really? It was on everybody else's. How am I getting more intelligence than him?
The point that you are bringing up, I mean, especially when you compare just the first 100 days of what President Trump has done, which is basically unravel what President Obama had, his accomplishments. We're seeing that the hard work has been dealing with that and dealing with the Republican Congress at the same time. The Democrats can't stop anything.
Exactly, and if the Republicans do not get Obamacare, I don't want to hear about tweaking it, fixing it, twerking it, whatever. I don't want to hear anything other than repeal it.
Joy, I have to tell you, that was the first time I've ever heard Obamacare threaten to be twerked.
Well, I'm not that young, but
I like that.
I've never done that, but I'm just saying.
I think we should twerk it. We should bounce it up and down. Just drop it like it's hot, Joy. Joy, thank you very much for calling today.
James.
Joy
Bye.
from the great state of Alabama. Need to twerk Obamacare. Right. Yes. Let's go to Tracy from the great state of Texas. Tracy, welcome to 104.1 KQTH.
Hi, James. I have quite a story to tell about Obamacare and Obama administration. In 2015, I worked for a contract company that had several contracts for the VAs. I had to get an extensive background check and give fingerprints. In 2015, OPM was hacked. And 6 months later, we were notified and given a name of a company that was going to monitor our security, our stuff for 18 months. So I signed up for that. In 2016, when we filed our taxes for 2015, I found out somebody had used my Social Security number to file taxes.
Yes.
And so I jumped through did all the paperwork, everything we needed to do to get that taken care of, and we were supposed to get a PIN number. Well, this year when we filed taxes, we are in the meantime, my insurance went from $400 a month to $900 a month.
What you are sharing with us, Tracy, from the great state of Texas, is what many Americans are experiencing, and I don't understand why the Republicans think that they can continue to play games while Americans are suffering in this way. I'm up against a heartbreak, my friend, but I'm not going to tell you to hang in there. I do believe this: Trump is going to do something. We just don't know what it is right now because the Republicans haven't made up their mind. Thank you very much for the call. We got Richard from New York coming up next. You're listening to 104.1 KQTH Tucson's News and Talk.
gave you fair warning, beware.
You are listening to 104.1 KQTH, Tucson's News and Talk. Well, she said that we need to, repeal and replace health care. Yes. She says she didn't want to hear about trying to tweak health care or twerk.
You know what to do with that big fat butt. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Just a little bit.
See, that's what they need to do with Obamacare. You need to twerk it. From the great New York City, we have Richard. Richard, welcome to 104.1 KQTH.
What's up, James, my brother? Happy Friday, my brother.
Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to you.
Why wouldn't the president say he thought it was going to be easy? Why would he say that? Look at Obama's 8 years.
Yes.
He wasn't a president. He was an entertainer.
You're right.
Every other weekend, massive parties in the White House.
You're right.
From the out shopping, Muslim Brotherhood, to all the Hollywood celebrities.
Beyonce.
Chicken and waffles.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That's all he was concentrating. This man never read a security brief. You know that?
Excellent. Come on, Richard. Come on.
Okay? That wasn't part of. He didn't care. His stuff was entertaining. When he got bored, he hiked himself to a golf course, played 16 holes. When he got tired, he headed to Hawaii for another vacation. So of course, Donald Trump figured, well, if he could do that for 8 years, this is going to be a cakewalk for me. Not knowing the damage this man was doing. He was an absentee landlord for 8 years.
An absentee landlord for the United States of America. This is why when President Trump got in office, he said, "This is a mess. They left a real mess for us." That's what he said.
Course. He left. Obama had the cookie jar open for all the little kids go in there and grab all the cookies they could. And there was parties every weekend in the White House. They were jamming up there, man.
Maybe this is why the media is kind of pressing on Trump, because they don't want it exposed of just all that was really not going on in the Obama administration.
Exactly. So the media, the media is so flaky. You can't even trust them or pay any attention what they're saying. All right? They left a mess. He left such a mess to the president to handle that right now I feel sorry for the president. He's being attacked unjustified.
Well, he's being attacked on everything, as Ross said earlier. Every little thing he does, he's being attacked.
These people were used to a smiling Obama, smiling waves,
a smiling, a lying Obama.
Yeah, and talking a lot of nonsense to entertain the media. That's why I call him, he was an entertainer. He was talking what the media wanted it to hear. And, of course, the media used to clap, drink wine with him, smoke a cigar in the garden. They didn't care.
Oh, smoke cigarettes. They're smoking cigarettes. He never stopped smoking cigarettes.
And you don't know what it would do behind the doors. Look at getting freaky deaky.
Hey, I've heard rumors.
With these Hollywood elite, they used to go in there every other weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, people need to relax and understand the president has a major mission to clean up this mess this man left, and hopefully he gets things done. And, things are not getting better with all these, threat of nuclear war. This is on Obama, okay? All this happening. If Obama were to take care of business the way he's supposed to have done, let's say for 5 years out of the 8, Mr. Trump should have had an easier time getting things done even better.
You bring up some excellent points, Richard, from New York City. Some excellent points indeed, especially when you start talking about how this was the celebrity in chief. They got it even around to calling it that. The things that were not getting done were shocking. You're right when you call him an absentee president. And again, this is what the media is probably trying to hide, because in the first 100 days, this president has gone about trying to clean up the mess, the mess of deregulation, the mess of Obamacare. He's been actively trying to get the economy revved up again. So yeah, it was.
And it's funny because the executive order Obama was doing was to hurt the United States.
Yes.
The executive order Trump is doing is to help
the United States. Richard,
I don't get that point, man.
most
God bless you, my brother.
most excellent call. You have a great weekend. Yes, I agree with Richard. And so he didn't know it was going to be this hard because he didn't know he was biting off this much. But here's the thing. President Trump said, I like to work. I worked hard before I was in this office. I'm just working harder than I ever have before. And look at the energy he has. It's quite amazing. All right, temperature check. 751-1041 is the telephone number. What was the biggest achievement of the first 100 days? What was Trump's biggest achievement of the first 100 days? We're going to leave Congress out of this. In the 4 o'clock hour, I'm going to talk about why the House, why can't the House repeal Obamacare? But for right now, in your opinion, what was the biggest achievement of Trump's first 100 days? And there is a correct answer. There is a correct answer. 520-751-1041.
You're right in that there is one very clear answer, and it's that nothing else is even close.
Right.
We've actually talked about it several times on this show.
We have.
Not that that's a huge hint or anything.
Not a hint. Not at all. And of course, this is opinion. But, sitting on the set, or not sitting on the set, but waiting to go on to Good Morning America yesterday, I was hearing all kinds of stuff, through the mic, was happening, talking about I couldn't watch the TV show. I was just hearing what's going on. And then, man, they're still whining and complaining about the same thing as they did 100 days ago. And Trump's moved on. 100 days. Here we go. Rob, welcome to 104.1 KQTH. What was the biggest achievement of Trump's first 100 days?
Him not walking away in disgust and quitting because of the way Congress and the Senate are reacting to him being in office. I hope the voters see when you get people like Nancy Pelosi quoting that he's done nothing in 100 days. The last president did nothing for 8 years. He had no foreign policy. He let this country literally lapse into the weakest state in my lifetime.
They had no budget. Did you know they didn't do a budget for 6 or 7 years?
The number of things that he did do was, pad his own illusion of his legacy, and did nothing for the American people. I mean, Trump, in just talking about being pro-America, has done more for this country in the last 100 days than Obama did in the last 1,000.
Excellent response, Rob. Thank you very much for the call. Let's go to Sally. Sally, welcome to 104.1 KQTH. What's the biggest achievement in Trump's first 100 days?
Well, James, I think there's been kind of two, but the biggest one, in my opinion, was lobbing those missiles into Syria and giving the world a head up.
Wow.
Heads up. We're not shaking, bowing, and kissing butt anymore.
We're not bending over and apologizing anymore.
Definitely not. The second thing is just keep slamming on that fake news so people start, looking at that too.
President Trump and his Twitter machine. That's what I was trying to tell George Stephanopoulos yesterday. You know what? We love that Twitter machine. We love the pushback against the fake news. Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Thank you very much for the call, Sally. Let's go to Ron. Ron, welcome to 104.1 KQTH. What was Trump's biggest achievement in the first 100 days?
Hey, James, I would have to say, and this is going to be something we're not going to feel for a long time to come, but it's by far the most important, was putting Neil Gorsuch in the Supreme Court. That basically kept our country from going over the brink. And we might not see it now, but it's going to be apparent in years to come how close this country came to us really losing so much.
That is an excellent response, Ron. The Neil Gorsuch, the choice, and then getting him nominated to the Supreme Court through a filibuster in the first 100 days. Absolutely. Thank you very much for the call. Let's go to Bess. Bess, welcome to 104.1 KQTH. First 100 days, what was the biggest achievement for Trump?
Oh, I agree. It had to be Gorsuch.
Okay.
Definitely, definitely. And thank you for yesterday. I loved it when he went after the little weasel. Thank you.
Best, thank you very much. Let's go to Dumas. Dumas, welcome to 104.1 KQTH. What was the big achievement for Trump in 100 days, first 100 days?
The guy was just before me got my thunder. I was going to say the Supreme Court justice, because I'm a good Christian, and you know where they were going. The other way around. They weren't going to let you talk about God or nothing any place. Merry Christmas or nothing in the store. So Supreme Court probably was my first choice. The second one was when he had the mother of all bombs at Syria also.
Excellent, Dumas. Thank you very much for the call. Hey, that's 3 for Gorsuch, 2 for the Moab. Yeah, 2 for the Moab. Let's go to Patricia. Patricia, welcome to 104.1 KQTH. What do you think was Trump's biggest achievement for the first 100 days?
Same thing what the guy said. Chief Justice Gorsuch, is that his name?
Yep, Gorsuch.
Yeah, and everything else he's done has been good too, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, you said Gorsuch and everything else he's doing. Fantastic. Let's go to Charlie from the great state of Michigan. Welcome to the James T. Harris Show. What do you think was Trump's biggest achievement in the first 100 days?
Becoming president. Everybody thought Hillary was going to win. Everybody said he didn't have a chance. They laughed at him. On November 8th, when he won, that was his greatest achievement.
Charlene, I have to tell you, I agree with you 100%. 100%. When he was sworn in, the day he was sworn in was the biggest achievement on all 100 days, because Hillary Clinton is not president of the United States.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for the call.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. Number 2, Gorsuch.
I still go with Supreme Court. I do. Right. Because technically he was elected prior to 100 days ago.
Do you forget?
Just saying.
Do you forget? Ross, were you one of the people who were saying, I'm not saying that you are, but were you one of the people that are saying that Hillary Clinton can't lose early on?
I knew that the Democrats probably had a better chance of winning with Bernie Sanders, which scared the daylights out of me. So as soon as Hillary won, I knew it was less of a chance, plus the whole, well, people were going to vote a woman in, all this stuff. So I had my doubts. I never said, oh, Trump's going to lose in a landslide, or I figured it would be close, but I never said, oh, Hillary's got this for sure. But I had my doubts.
Right. I don't ever want us to forget, and you were here. We'll never forget how we felt election night. I mean, that was, don't you put your head back and say, like, we were elated. We were blown away. It was
with every piece of good information that came across, we just kept getting a little more fired up and a little more fired up. And then we'd get a piece of bad news, but then we'd still be fine. And then by the end of the night, we were just standing here going, that just happened.
That just happened. Gene, I'm going to give you the last word. Welcome to 104.1 KQTH.
Hello?
Hi, Gene.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, I agree with everybody, but here's what I think his biggest achievement was. Rattling the media and saying, oh, no, I am going to send out my tweets and I am not going to buy into the media.
That's huge.
What I think his biggest achievement.
That is huge, Gene. And I'm going to back up your comment on the other side. Thank you very much for the call.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Thank you very much. Gene is right. And see, this is why I had so much fun going on Good Morning America yesterday. People are like, I can't believe they brought you on to talk about tweets. No. President Trump and that Twitter machine. The President Trump and Twitter. How many characters can you use to put out a message? Has revolutionized how politics is working. It's revolutionized in the same way President Reagan was able to jump over the media and be direct contact with the American people. Trump is doing that through social media. And that was huge. When we come back, Larry Elder is weighed in on Trump's biggest achievement of the first 100 days. And he rolls up everything we've been talking about into a fantastic little op-ed. You're listening to 104.1 KQTH.
But the point is that China is the one that the only one that can control Kim Jong-un, this crazy fat kid that's running North Korea.
About 15 to 20 minutes ago, we learned that North Korea tried to shoot off a ballistic missile and once again failed. North Korea test-fired a ballistic missile on Saturday in local time, but the missile exploded soon after launch, U.S. officials told NBC News. Well, either they're hapless or we're really that good. That we're able to still hack their stuff. The officials said that the failed test involved a short-range non-nuke missile, which would be able to hit Seoul but not Japan. The incident comes as the United States reconsiders its strategy in dealing with the isolated nation. Okay. So, crazy fat kid is still blowing off missiles, testing ballistic missiles in defiance of the United States of America. All right, we're going to keep our eye on that. I'm going to come back to that a little bit later. I think some friends in Facebook picked up on that real quickly. Trump's biggest achievement of the first 100 days, Larry Elder, who's a conservative talker out of California, an American of African descent. President Donald Trump's biggest achievement in the first 100 days? Easy. He stopped the left. Measure Trump's first 100 days not by just looking at what he has or has not accomplished. Look at what America would have experienced under the alternative, Hillary Clinton. Under Clinton, the debate would not have been on how to replace Obamacare, but how quickly the left could realize its ultimate ambition, a Canadian-style single-payer system. Under Clinton, the issue would not have been how steep the tax cuts, but how many rich people, also known as job creators, would experience yet another growth-restricting tax hike. Under Clinton, the $100 billion plus annually in new regulations imposed by President Obama, much of it to fight climate change, would continue to rise. This has stopped. President Trump signed an executive order that requires an elimination of 2 regulations for every new regulation posed by an executive department or agency in 2017, with a $0 net increase in the cost of regulations. Under Clinton, newly confirmed conservative Justice Neil Gorsuch would have been another Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sonia Sotomayor, Elaine Kagan clone. Yeah, Penguin. 4 left-wing Scottish justices in the Heller case ruled that there is not an individual right to keep and bear arms. He spared us of a 5th one. Trump, too, has put the left-wing media on notice. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Right. Through WikiLeaks, we found that John Harwood, a debate moderator, emailed a letter to Hillary Clinton campaign manager John Podesta bragging about a question he put to Donald Trump. He also emailed advice on dealing with the challenge posed by Dr. Ben Carson. Staffers for newsman Jake Tapper and Wolf Blitzer of CNN contacted the Democrat National Committee to seek questions they might put to Republican presidential candidates. There were many other examples of flat-out collusion well beyond the liberal bias we've come to expect. President Trump also changed 8 years of Obama's leading from behind foreign policy by using our largest non-nuclear bomb in ISIS in Afghanistan and bombing Syria for its use of chemical weapons. Under Obama, we pulled out all the troops from Iraq despite the objections of his foreign policy and of staff, now retired Army General Ray Ordinero. He said, I go back to work. I go back to the work we did in 2007 through 2010. Under Obama, we bombed Libya, a mission the Obama administration admitted was done for humanitarian reasons. Dictator Muammar Gaddafi paid the reparations for the terrorist explosion of Japan. That's what he said. But we never did anything with that. And we ended up losing troops in Benghazi. Larry Elder goes on. He talks about immigration. He talks about how ultimately the 100 days of Trump need to be put into the right focus. Hillary Clinton and the left lost.